Hey everyone, hey fellow panelists. I hope you're having a good second day. I hope you're ready to talk some more about growth, and you kind of have an idea what will be the topic today. And yeah, I think let's kick it off for the next 30 minutes. Maybe I will ask as a first question to all of you. This is one question for me that maybe it's a myth or not, but like, do you think in these years, can a company or like a startup grow successfully just based on their organic activities or grow organically? I mean, if we're thinking about different stages when we're trying to find our product market fit very fast, we want to reach our certain MRR goals. We want to gain ambitiously market share. We want to expand into different markets. Do you think that just growing organically will help us to reach those goals? I would like to hear some opinions from all of you, actually.
Awesome. Hi, Riga. Everyone had a good night yesterday, I hope. I can kick it off a little bit. So, you know, as a Google representative, obviously, I do have a stake in this question. And obviously, I do think that our tools and our advertising solutions are amazing, and there is a good reason for that. But I also have another hat, which is an angel investor, quite actively investing. And when we started talking about these questions, I really thought, actually, whenever I have a startup approaching and asking if I would be interested in joining around, if I would be interested in investing in them, and they say, by the way, we reached this amazing level without investing a single dollar, a single euro in advertising, I'm actually saying that's terrible. Frankly, that's terrible from my perspective. And the reason is very simple. Honestly, I believe you can grow organically to a certain point, but this also creates a strange situation. I have no idea how did you grow to this point. I have no idea, can you replicate that in another market? I have no idea if you haven't reached the ceiling. So whenever I see, marketing is simple for me. I mean, I look at the numbers. I understand how much are your acquisition costs, how much are you getting from your sales. I can estimate your potential for growth. I can estimate if you are able to grow further, if you can expand into new markets. So whenever someone is saying we are not investing in marketing and we are doing amazing, I'm thinking that's actually, that's a problem. Because you essentially don't know if you can grow, and you don't have competences. You haven't tried it. You don't have marketing people, you don't have analytics people. Even once you reach the point when you need to do it, you will not know how to do it, and it will take you time. So my point probably would be you can grow. If you want to stay a small, potentially a small company, no problem at all. But if you are looking to become like a really, a superstar company, I don't see how you're going to do that.
Justinas, Emīls, any opposing thoughts or kind of agree?
Actually, I was listening to Vytautas, and I thought that Vytautas is a real Googler. Because, it's very good for the Google once you are, paying for the growth. But actually, we are, maybe just a few words about background, because I think that our company maybe not too much known here. So we are a Baltic classifieds group, and we are having different classified marketplaces, especially in Lithuania and Estonia. And we were growing both organically and through the M&A. And actually, in the beginning, when I was finding the company, which were before, it was a young company, but was growing organically and not investing into, the marketing, for me was kind of a trigger. The product is so good that it has, these real advocates, and, and just, when the imagination kicks in, thinking, how much you can achieve, also adding to the company your experience, additional funding. So I would kind of, slightly think, or once I see the company growing organically, become super excited, about the prospects of this company.
Right now, I kind of have a feeling that it's a good sign to see that a company or a startup is growing organically, but at the same time, it raises up questions like how scalable is this approach and how long will it last? Emīls, do you have also some thoughts around it?
I would tend to agree with Vytautas that that if you want to create a unicorn, if you're ambitious, then growing just with organic won't get you far. If you want to stay that 10 people company in your niche market, capturing that relatively small demand that there is, I think you can do that with the organic presence. But I don't think that that's doable after you want to expand your market or go establish yourself in a larger market. I think that you need those paid activities. I also think that it's a good way, to go into somewhere, test it with paid, and then decide whether you should do something organically there. So without paid, I don't think that you can make unicorn.
That actually brings me to the other topic, because it's also here mentioned paid activities. So it's usually related to branding activities, it's related to performance, so that I tend to have a lot of conversations with performance goals and how it relates to the paid advertising efforts. So maybe that would bring to the question that when do you, in your opinion, is good time to start with paid activities? And maybe, because we know this industry is changing a lot. I hear some startups saying that it doesn't work at all. They don't get any results out of them. Some of them say that this is their main growth strategy, paid advertising. So what are your thoughts? When should you start thinking about paid activities and talking about performance branding perspective? Like, what do you think are the key factors to actually have a successful paid advertising strategy in place? Justinas or Vytas? I think you have actually a lot to say. Go ahead.
Look, I mean, I'm obviously going to say as early as possible. No, but there is truth in that. Look, marketing can be a fantastic research tool for you as well. So you can test the waters. You can test the new markets. So I would say generally, you need to start quite early on. Your investors are going to want to see if you are a scalable business. So this is generally for your possibility to as well raise faster rounds, to grow faster, to control the tempo as well. What is very important is that, organic, excellent, M&A is excellent, but investors are also going to want to see you growing steadily, you showing consistent results. And this is your possibility to actually, do all of those things. And again, you need to build the competencies. You need to build like measurement and attribution. You need to build marketing. You need to build your influencer groups. You need to build your email marketing groups. So the earlier you're going to start, the better it's going to be. We as Google in the region, we are working with essentially all of our unicorns. All of the companies that are really growing internationally, doing so well. And I can see that those who started late are having as well some major issues. There is technical backlog because they always were focused very heavily on product, and if they started working on marketing late, you already built a massive stack of technology, and suddenly you need to do a surgical intervention into that. You need to suddenly do, your marketing, tagging and everything, which is becoming honestly very difficult at these late stages.
I completely agree that it should be planned ahead also. Emīls, we were actually discussing a bit about the branded part and these paid activities.
Yeah, I would just second Vytautas on that. I think you should start from the beginning just to have the whole infrastructure in place. But a lot of startups in Baltic ecosystem haven't really thought about brand campaigns, which essentially mean that you're not only capturing the demand that is there, but also generating demand by expanding the very top of the funnel, advertising to customers in places, to potential customers in places where none of your competitors or you have advertised before, and the content isn't supposed to convert those potential prospects, potential customers. The content is just there to show them that, there is this problem and we have a solution. So I think it's the only way to grow further once you hit the limits of your market, especially if you're working in a market that's rather new, rather niche. So yeah, I think that's something that is often overlooked. But there are also a couple of good reasons why these brand campaigns, this proper demand generation, expanding market is overlooked. is because, you know, first of all, it's the budget. For brand campaigns to be successful, you need to have very large budgets. Second of all, it takes time. So, you know, it's, since you're targeting the very top of the funnel, it's going to take a long time until you can see the impact of this brand campaign on your bottom line. And third, it's the attribution. Since, you know, this very top of the funnel is, you know, it's very far from the actual conversion. It's often very difficult to attribute it to the revenue numbers. You know, it's difficult to say whether this brand campaign was successful, and hence it's difficult to convince your board, your management team that this is a worthwhile investment. But at the same time, there is, I think, no other way to expand once you captured your entire market.
Completely agree. Justinas?
Maybe just to add, I think that you need to start when you have a proven product. Sometimes people start too early with half-ready product, and then it's, you know, sometimes it happens that there appears these shelf companies where basically they are built on marketing spend, and once, you know, this tap of the marketing is turned off, you see that there is nothing left. So I'm kind of an advocate of performance-based marketing where ROI is, you know, measured, and definitely it's, you know, the marketing is sustainable.
For me, it's also these questions that sometimes when I hear the paid advertising is not working, I want to dig deeper to understand, have you actually set up the right basics and analytics and measurement? And of course, also, we know that everyone wants to get some performance goals achieved, but actually the branding part, is it supporting these activities? So I think definitely the paid advertising part is something that you actually can control, you can plan. It both impacts the outbound and inbound, but definitely it adds to the growth. It can add quite significantly if you want to reach that unicorn or even techacorn status. And actually, the part that is also we haven't discussed yet is the M&As, or mergers and acquisitions. And we had briefly, we were discussing that actually Justinas has quite an extensive experience with M&As. And it's an interesting topic because we all know this term and everything, but how many of us actually have experience with running M&A deals? When are they a good strategy? So maybe, Justinas, you can share a bit your thoughts. When would be an M&A strategy a good choice for a growth, for a startup?
I guess maybe I could share our own story more, because we are coming from quite a specific industry, which is online marketplaces, and we pursue M&A strategy very, very early. I remember we bought the first company, we were ourselves two-people company, and then we bought another one which were also two-people company, and it was a real estate portal in Lithuania. And the reason why we decided to do so was that we are in an industry where the network effect is super strong, and basically the industry where the winner takes it all. So being late on the market, or being not the first mover on the market, it really makes it very complex and difficult task to break into the network effect and to start maybe winning the market against your competition. And secondly, you know, the thing where you, through M&A, you can save the time and, you know, buy a competitor, eliminate competitor in a way, and grab all the market share. It just, you know, gives you maximum speed, and even you are overpaying that, you know, initially. But then, you know, it returns with a huge margin. And I think that, you know, all this strategy which we pursue in the beginning, being still very small but very active in M&A, I know this is where the key thing which brought us to €1 billion size valuation company. And I think that if we haven't done it, you know, initially, I think that we would have been maybe good, but we would not have been great. So, you know, having this, putting everything on the, you know, on the table, and, you know, pursuing your strategy, kind of either you fail completely or you will win. It was kind of for us the key, you know, to success. And I think that companies are currently, maybe especially M&A for the young startups, are not very popular, and it's maybe natural because there is no know-how there. And I remember when I did the first one, I also didn't have the know-how. But this is maybe not the thing you should be afraid of, because M&A is always led by the, by external help from the investment bankers or from the lawyers, etc. Which actually, it's not that scary thing at all. So,
what about culture? What about what are the? I mean, you are talking, and I'm actually thinking. Isn't it a little bit weird? I'm trying to figure out what startup M&A have I heard of within the Baltic scene, and I cannot think of any right now, to be completely honest.
I got stuck in this too, actually.
I mean, do we even do that in Baltics? Aside from you guys.
Actually, we did quite a lot. I think that I think in the first 5 years of the company history, we did, I don't know, 6 or 7 M&As, and it was all with small companies. And basically, I think once we did the first one, we got really excited. It was successful. We did another one again. The excitement was, just spreading in our brains, and maybe we became too excited. And there were also some failures with regards to that, because at one moment you start thinking that, okay, I was successful here, I was successful there. Maybe it's there is all type of business where it can be successful, which actually it's not true. You kind of have your own competence, and the lessons which we learned and where we failed, that through M&A we at some point became too wide, like investing too wide, not only as our core competence like online marketplace, but we were starting to invest in e-commerce, starting different and other initiatives. And when you start learning that actually it's not a good, it's kind of even start, you need to be very disciplined with M&A and start to think, what are the businesses you want to be involved. And for example, recently we are, I guess, much less active in M&A field, and which is maybe kind of contrary, because we already have a very profitable company, which is and also almost close to limitless capital access to capital. But it also gives you a huge responsibility, because you can acquire a 100 million company, but then you also be afraid to create this huge behemoth, which is doing everything, and in the end is about nothing. So.
Maybe I would still dig a bit deeper into this. For example, what I hear for some investors, they say that when they hear a next startup pitch, they say like, oh, you seem like the 5th one who is pitching exactly the same thing. And like the competition is fierce in some areas, and the talent search, you're trying to win over those talents. Like, would an M&A strategy be a good fit for this, that if you really want to win over the competition, getting some talents, probably you have some experience in this. Like, is it something that it's a good way to go, or you actually need to keep in mind some?
Actually, I think that all our M&A thesis were about taking over the market share and also taking over clients, and basically just expanding our market share and eliminating the competition. We have never thought about M&A as a talent acquisition, and our own kind of experience says that talents are very kind of flexible. Basically, you cannot guarantee with any other contract that you acquire a company where there is a plenty of talent and they will stay eventually. So I'm kind of skeptical about these M&A, which are trying to acquire the companies, and then to maybe the ones they worked as an outsourcing companies, etc. So I think that M&A has to be about expanding the market share rather than
Maybe also because nowadays keeping the company culture in this remote environment and everything, and also with the M&A deals, how do you actually keep track of the company focus, and you make sure that the transition is going smoothly? And from your experience, does it actually change the company dynamics like significantly usually with these deals?
I think it changes, and unfortunately, M&A quite often are painful, because I guess in our case we did over 10 M&A deals, and usually with M&A, half of the team changes. Because usually, it's hard to find the teams which are, exactly similar, share similar culture. And on the other hand, you kind of, as a manager, executive, you try to make the organization aligned and similar thinking. So with M&A comes a lot of, painful processes. Sometimes you need to, replace some people, some fit, some doesn't. So that's why we kind of, I'm maybe to repeat myself, I'm kind of, usually when we are looking at M&A, we are looking at the expansion of the market share rather than, acquiring the talent.
You can do that via marketing, and it's much more fun to beat your competition than to buy them.
But, but the competitor also can do the same. And in the end, you will still be, competing with, you will be having a competition. So, I mean, it's also, I think that there is no a single recipe for like every company, because my background and kind of our company is coming from, as I said, from the business area where the network effect is super strong, winner takes it all. So it's super important to build market share as fast as possible, and then it leads to higher entry barriers, etc. There are other different business types where maybe it's less important, and there is several competitors can successfully coexist, and and then it would be maybe more strategy going through the paid or organic growth.
Like, for me, I had this idea that with an M&A strategy, it feels more like a mindset shift. Because like organically growing, having those paid activities is something that we kind of have our own experiences already. You have one opinion or another, but we kind of feel it. But M&A strategies, maybe like you need to rethink what is the market where I'm going after for, because maybe in the US market it's a more common strategy to do, and maybe it's not as good for smaller markets, but maybe actually this is something that we should dig more deep into this and get this habit, because Justinas also said it comes with experience, and maybe in the beginning you're more bold and looking at this, and then afterwards you're trying to keep into your expertise area and very wisely choose if this M&A deals would be a good option. But one of the last questions that I wanted to ask, because I know, Vytas, you're also, as an investor, you're talking to startups. And whenever they are presenting their growth strategy, their plans, long-term, short-term, what are kind of these maybe green signals or red signals that you look? What is like a solid growth strategy in your opinion?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, generally, it's no secret, right? I mean, we talk about that in the market quite a lot. We have fantastic talent in the Baltics. When it comes down to product development, when it comes down to engineering, absolutely fantastic. But we need to be very clear that marketing competencies, product management competencies, this is something that is going to become more and more painful for us. I mean, we knew this for many years now. Our universities, unfortunately, are not really well equipped to build excellent global product, global company marketing managers, right? And to top that off, I mean, I see as well some weird shame, if you will, in marketing, right? I mean, there are moments when I kind of get it. When I talk, for example, to mobile indie game developers, and they're like, this is my baby. I have created this game for like 10 years, and advertising sucks. I'm not going to do it, because if I do it, then it's not a real piece of art. People need to either love it, or they need to tell me that I'm a bad artist. Like, okay, I get that perspective, sort of. But when I hear like B2B SaaS company managers who are saying, we don't do marketing, we only do, MPS, so our customers love us, and they, network effects and all of that. I'm like, honestly, that's not true, first of all. Like 90% of the companies that tell you we don't do marketing are actually, for whatever reason, they are not saying the truth. There are massive budgets behind them. In general, whenever someone is telling you, like, we are just doing this viral, we are going viral, that's not true. Most of the cases, you want to go viral, go drink water in Nigeria. So everything else is really well-executed marketing strategies. So, and we need to be very clear about these things. I'm noticing an interesting shift as well. And probably you've seen, for those of you who are hiring, analysts, right? There is a massive, massive, massive demand for analysts these days. Half of the marketing team are analysts. So forget about the madman kind of marketing idea of what is marketing. Marketing is very clear. This is the math game right now, right? So it's very clear. You understand what your customers are bringing you. You understand how much it takes you to, how much it costs for you to acquire those customers. And there are genius people and systems and tools that allow you to estimate that. So it's essentially a sales channel for you. So this is exactly what I'm looking at. I'm looking like, do you have those competencies? Do you have the understanding? Are you building the right people? Are you building the right reporting structures? Even if the numbers are off, you know, in many cases when you start, they are going to be off. You are selling something at 100 euros, your acquisition costs are 90. This might happen. That's totally fine, because it's normal that you're going to go down with a little bit of time, with a little bit of network effect, with a little bit of referrals and everything, you know, smarter media mix modeling. You're going to tune it, and it's probably going to go down 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. It depends, really. So, but I'm looking for this start. I'm looking for this, you know, smartness in understanding, and really good understanding. Like, marketing is going to propel us. It's going to give us tempo control. It's going to give us ability to expand, to test new markets. And if you know, again, if people are saying we are not doing it, we are great with organic, I'm like, excellent, good for you, that's fantastic. And it's going to be a lovely small and medium business for the next 10 years, probably, unless you are going to reconsider.
I actually like the analytics part and the data, because I think maybe Emīls, you said you were also in your job, you're looking at the inbound and outbound and activities and everything. How kind of you measure the growth for Lokalise or in your role?
Technically, it's very simple. You know, even though if you don't have, I think that's the first thing that any business should start to measure is like inbound cost per acquisition, outbound cost per acquisition. Because even though if you know your marketing analytics is not top-notch, you know, you cannot attribute to a specific campaign something and you don't know exactly how much you spend, you know roughly your total marketing costs and you know roughly your sales development representative costs. And you just know which of those 2 channels brought them in, and then you just compare, and then you know which one to scale up. So, and you know, it's also the thing that outbound teams are supposed to go after larger companies, which is, I think, not a lot of startups know. I'm talking about B2B in this case. They go after, you know, larger ticket sizes, so you know, they have to justify their cost, because almost in all startups, you know, like SDR team is not as efficient as marketing team, but when it shouldn't be always the case, it's just that, you know, SDR team should go after the big fish, while marketing, you know, covers all the rest, in my opinion.
And by the way, if I may add, also one very interesting observation from me as a Google rep here, the general global consensus is that B2B and marketing is hard, while actually it's super easy, to be frank. And we have very interesting discussions at Google internally, where colleagues are approaching us like, how come you have so many super successful B2B companies that are very large Google advertisers, and like, how are we not having, I'm like, exactly, how are you not? Because it's much easier, to be frank, than a consumer product, because B2B companies have such a high customer lifetime value. I mean, these are like enterprise products, very sticky, customers are going to be there for a very long time. You are earning thousands of dollars or euros and, you know, from customer that you acquire, so you can actually experiment, do some very smart stuff at a higher price, and you are really going to nail it. So it's very interesting that Baltics are becoming really a sort of a knowledge hub, a power hub of B2B companies, where I see our Nordic colleagues, our Alpine, our Spain and Italy, they are not figuring this out. So, you know, this is some very good timing for B2B companies from Baltics.
I would maybe just add, I think the marketing, it's an important thing at some certain point of the company. However, I guess in our organization, we are much more discussing about scaling down the budgets rather than increasing the marketing budgets. And I think that at some point you reach your market saturation or establishment where you just need to think critically about the marketing spend in general. And I think that a lot of big companies are thinking the marketing spend as a percentage of the revenue, which is one of the fundamental mistakes here. And they think, they were a small company, they were spending 10%, they were a middle-sized company spending 10%, and then as they are big, they continue to do that. This is one of the biggest, money waste.
Unfortunately, our time is up. I thank you. Thanks a lot for this good talk. I hope you found some good ideas and definitely enjoy the rest of the day. And thanks for having us. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.